Okay, so we're going to start firstly by cleansing the brows. So my client has come today with makeup on, and you're normally going to find that people will come with makeup on. So you just want to cleanse that off, be firm, but not too firm, and just make sure everything is off. Now, my client today is probably one of my hardest eyebrows to do because she is very much overplucked her eyebrows over the years and they just don't grow at all. But she wants to try out the lamination and we'll see how it goes. Even on overplucked eyebrows, a lamination can make the world of difference. Okay, so cleansed and brushed the eyebrows, and now we're going to put the lift solution. Solution number 1, you're going to put it up in an upward motion, and we're just going to pop the brows in the way that we're wanting them to be, and make sure you put enough lotion on. So just saturate the brows in the lotion. Try your best not to get too much on the skin, but that's okay because as soon as you've applied it, what I like to do is go back over it and take off any solution that I might have had on the skin. So just do both eyebrows. You don't have to be too neat with this because we're just lifting the brows just now. So we're just going to pop the lotion and pop enough on. Okay, just pop your cling film over. Stretch it over both brows and just make sure it's over quite tight, and then you can pat down, just gently pat down the brows. Once your time is up, you're going to remove the cling film and take a damp cotton pad, nothing too wet because we don't want to really wet the brows, it's just very, very lightly damped cotton pad, and make sure we remove it in the direction and then get a brush and brush them again in the direction that you want the brows to be. So at your consultation, you'll ask your clients how they want their brows to look. And then we're going to do the same. We're going to get the fixing solution, and again just saturate the brows in this solution, and this is going to fix them into the place that you're wanting them to go. And then we're going to apply the cling film the same way we've done the first time round. Just make sure it's tight on, press down the brows. Okay, you can quickly check and see if it has developed, so you're just going to gently move one or two of the hairs to see if they stay down. And if you think that it's not quite ready, just pop it back, no problem. Pat it down and just leave it for however longer. So it might just be a case of 1 more minute or 30 seconds, and then you can check again. So you're going to take off the cling film again and get some damp cotton pads and we're just going to remove the solution. Again, I try to do it in an upward motion, just the way in which you want the brows to go. Okay, and you can gently brush the brows again before we then are going to do our tinting. Okay, now we're going to put a dark brown tint over the brows. Now you don't need to leave your tint on as long as you normally would because of the lotion in the lamination, it will help soak in the tint, so you don't need to leave it on as long. Okay, so mix your tint. It literally takes 30 seconds just to mix it round. Make sure it's all together, so your tint and your developer, mixing it, and always mix it fresh when your client is there. And then we're just going to apply it to the brows. I like to apply it in a really neat way because I feel like it then can give you help when you're way to wax the brows. So it's like you're literally drawing on the shape that you want the brows to look like at the end. So some people might just slap on that dye everywhere because they think, well, when you wax it, the tint is going to come off the skin. But I just think it's so much easier if you take your time popping the dye on and try to get it as neat as possible in the shape that you're wanting your brows to be. And that makes it so much easier when it comes to the waxing because it's like an outline that you've already done. So as you can see, I do take my time when I'm doing my tinting. Okay, so once the time is up, again, another damp cotton pad, and you're just going to gently remove the tint from the brows and from the skin. And as you can see, I won't have too much on the skin, just enough for the outline of the brows that I want to create. So it's so much easier when you do that. Now you're going to get your brush, and we're brushing the hairs again in the way that you're wanting them, but don't put them too far up because we're going to be waxing the tops of the brows. So you can always put them up more at the end if you want to with your brow glue. Okay, so because I've marked the outline with the dye, it's very easy to then go and wax. But if you're still new to this, you can draw on with a pencil. You might want to just check exactly where your arch is. You can get the client to open their eyes, look straight ahead, and then just measure exactly where your arch is going to be. Always as well, don't put too much wax on, and do it in stages. You don't want there to be too much wax on and then it to seep into the brows because you might take off more than you need. Always stretch the skin as well. So with one hand or whatever way you can, you're going to just stretch the skin. We want to do this as neat as possible because you don't really want to be using tweezers. Only use tweezers if you really, really must. I just think if you're good enough at doing your waxing, you take your time, then there isn't really any reason that you should be using tweezers unless it's like that one stray hair that you've not managed to get. But I just think if you take your time and you really do it in stages, then you shouldn't really need to use a tweezer. And also, you don't want to be overusing all your products and things, so you can use one of the wax strips and use it quite a few times. So in the beginning you might want to just use a fresh one each time, but as you get more confident at this, you'll realise that you want to make the treatment as profitable as well for you, and so you don't want to overuse all your wax strips. So now we're just going to do tops of brows, so make sure you've put the hairs away that you are not wanting to wax. And again, you're not going to put too much wax on. You're only going to be waxing near the brows at the top. Maybe when you're coming down to this end, there might be more hair, I find. So you might want to just pop a little bit more wax on at those ends. Okay, and always remember middle of the brow. I always think even if you don't have anything to see, it's always nice to do that anyway, because your makeup will go on a lot nicer as well. As you can see, you just measure your area, so never go too far in. I do see that with clients coming to me. A lot of waxing people make that mistake and they take the brows far too far in. Sometimes you'll get a client like my client today, her brows are slightly further in than I would have taken them myself. But there's nothing you can do about that when the client's already come with that sort of brow. You can apply the wax a little bit more on, not the wax, sorry, the tint a little bit more, or you could pop a little bit of makeup on at the end. So this is just wax remover. Don't put too much on, it's like an oil. You just want a really small bit, and that's just going to take away any wax. So at the end you might want to put some concealer over the redness, a little bit of makeup over the brows.